as I mentioned in my first video, I'm a recovering perfectionist. And as you can see from behind me, I am still not completely unpacked in here. But I am forcing myself to get past that and just create some content for you all. I also don't have a curtain yet up there because I haven't decided what color I want my room to be. Don't want it to be white, but I also don't want it to be like too overpowering because I'm surrounded by color anyway. So if you have a suggestion for the color of walls, let me know. Okay, so what I have done here is I've actually put all of my UFOs in these waterproof bags that I bought on Amazon. I really like them. They've got straps so I can carry them, but it keeps it protected from pets. And I have the two first projects that I want to complete out on the table. They are two quilts. They've already been quilted. They need the edges trimmed, and they need binding, and that's all, and then they'll be done. So I've got sort of two things here. I have a pad that I've got that I'm planning to write down all of the names of the projects, or you know, sort of whatever a descriptor is of the project, and then where they are, what they still need, that kind of a thing. Then I know I've got multiples of project books, but I've got this one. I don't believe it's still in print. It is called the Scrappy Project Planner, and it's by Lori Holt of Bee in My Bonnet. This came out several years ago. I might even say it might even be at least 5 years ago. I feel like it was pre-pandemic when this book came out. But what it specifically has is it's got a project list page where you can write up to 50 projects. And then it's got a 2-page spread where it's got the project name, quilt size, block size, number of blocks, who's it for, supplies that you need, start date, finish date, colors and swatches, and then sources, notes, and sketches and ideas. I feel like this is kind of a great planner for projects that are sort of in your mind that you'd like to do, but maybe not as much for projects that are already in progress. So thus, I am sort of starting on a sketch pad first, or a notepad first, so that I can write down as much information as I feel is necessary, and can sort of guide me. I do have a few other books that are sort of like this, as well as there was a period of time when I was planning to write an article about UFOs, and I started to sort of create my own spreadsheet, which I might revisit if what I've got doesn't quite fit the bill. Okay, so there's another way that you can track projects that I'm trying to remember exactly if I believe this was actually twofold. I think that it was written in as part of an article that I featured that Elaine Theriault wrote from Canada, and she described some friends of hers and their process, if I'm not mistaken. And then I also believe that someone else wrote in to Quilt Maker magazine and described this technique, and that is using index cards in a like a recipe box, that you would keep your recipe box and file your projects in that one small box, so that you can always go back and pick up exactly where you left off. You're going to write your notes of what you've done, how many blocks you're making, how many blocks you need, you know, and where you've left off, so that you know. And so that is also another way that I'm going to explore to see how well it works and share with you. So for the time being, what I'm going to work on right now is I am going to go through my bin. I'm going to write down where we are, and I'm going to just make notes on this pad, and then we're going to follow up once I figure out exactly how many projects there are and how I can sort of organize them. What my plan is to sort of organize them in easiest to hardest in completion. I haven't decided yet if I am going to add to the list some of the projects that I know are sort of goals, like perhaps I bought a kit, or I have a particular, fat quarter stack of fabric, or I bought the yardage and a pattern to make a particular project. I may also include those, but I think it kind of depends upon how many there are, quite honestly. I mean, those might be perfect to sort of go in the scrappy planner and, like sort of have like an ongoing idea of like, what projects I have planned. So yeah, so I'm gonna circle back once I've completed this, and I'll let you know what I've learned. Okay, friends, that honestly didn't take too long. I'd say maybe took a half an hour to quickly like go through and jot down everything. It probably didn't even take that long, quite honestly, because when I got to the total, I realized that there were only 13 projects in there. This is a problem because I know I've got at least 24. And when I counted 24, I'm pretty sure I added 4 more after that that were just tops. Now, 2 of those are on this list. However, 2 of them were in the other pile. And this also means that perhaps there is a box still unpacked somewhere that I thought that I mean, I literally thought I went through every single box when we moved. And so I'm a little concerned. But it's a start. I mean, literally it's a start, right? And really, before the end of the year, how many can I get done? So we're just gonna go from here. So I went through the entire bag, and then what I did was I wrote down basically either the name of the project or you know, something that would describe it. For instance, like disappearing 9 patch. I only have 1 disappearing 9 patch in there. Pretty sure I only have 1 disappearing 9 patch. So, so I just sort of wrote down basically what it was, or maybe a fabric description, and then where it was, like the status of it. And then after that, I went through and I took everything on that first page and I put it on a second page and I broke it down by what it still needs to be done. So for instance, I have 2 quilts that just needed trimming and binding. I had 3 quilts in that bag alone. Technically there were 4, but I didn't count one, where it was just a top and it was ready for quilting. And then I had 2 that the centers were done, but they needed borders put on. And then 1 in my list that all of the blocks were done, they just needed to be sewn together and then evaluated. I don't think I was going to add a border to that particular project. I think it was just going to be the blocks. And then there were 6 projects that still needed more blocks. One of those projects is in my list to get done this month. So that's where we are. From here, I don't know that I'm going to go out of my way to search for the other projects that I know are missing, but I will, however, break this down further and decide if I'm putting them in the Scrappy Project Planner or if I'm going to do something else. Yeah, part of me kind of thinks I would like to try the Scrappy Project Planner, do the recipe cards, and do sort of a spreadsheet version where I can figure out what needs to be put where, and sort of work out something that might be a download that I can give to all of you. Drop a comment below and let me know if you might be interested in such a thing, like a little download that you can print off or keep on your computer and just put all of the projects you are working on as well and keep track of it. Okay, so then beyond that sort of housekeeping, keeping track thing, what I implemented in this last week was every single day I sat down for 15 minutes. So most of the time that I sat down for 15 minutes, it turned into more than 15 minutes, which was kind of nice because I realized I could carve out a bunch of time. You know, I don't need to be scrolling on Instagram endlessly when I could be actually doing something productive, and that makes me really happy. So that's what I did. And so that worked out really well. You want to see what I finished so far? We should have a drum roll. I finished 1 quilt that needed to be trimmed and bound. Here's a picture of it. Isn't it cute? That was a project that was a color option for, I believe it was for Love of Quilting. They asked me to do a color option for them, and an easy project using a layer cake. I actually decided to use 2 layer cakes from Riley Blake and combine them to sort of create a little more depth of color and a little more fun. And it was quilted. It was machine quilted. That was one of the first quilts that I actually ever sent out, and I had it done at Linda's, and Corey actually quilted it for me one day when I was down in Texas visiting them. And so I was very happy about that. And I have one more that Corey also quilted for me that I'm planning to trim and bind this week. Now that quilt is a bit bigger, so that one I really got to get on this week so I can finish it. I'm just a little concerned about hand binding it because this one took a little bit longer than I anticipated. It took 2 nights of watching TV, which isn't terrible. But I kind of have a feeling that that one might take at least 3 nights to do. So then finally, the other thing that I did this week was I completed one more block on my Twilight Boulevard. And I will show that to you. I do need to trim it still. But there you go, super cute. So for that one, I've got 3 blocks down, 4 to go. And then I'm planning to quilt that one on my embroidery machine, which should be fun. I actually watched a tutorial on how to do this exact project on this exact machine, and it was great. So that's what I'm planning to do. I also kind of found something, sorry if you're hearing little sounds in the background. I have a little kitten who's visiting me right now. He's playing with looks like some tape. Sorry about that. So while I was looking through my projects, I actually found a couple of pillowcases. They still actually have labels on them. This was for, it was for Quick and Easy Quilts. We must have done a pillow. I think I did a pillow insert in one of them to just make some extra space. And so I've got the fabric to do one more just like this, which I think I am going to do to make my bed a little more festive. I'm a little bit sad because this one was the second colorway I did, which was very cute. And I only had enough of this fabric for one. So I don't quite know why I did just one. And I have this fabric in a different colorway, but I'm not sure I've got enough for 2. So, so at any rate, I think I'm gonna do a couple of Halloween pillowcases. Now it's funny because I've made pillowcases for my kids. I've never made a pillowcase for myself. And these just feel so much nicer than a regular pillowcase. So knowing how quick and easy pillowcases are, I think I'm gonna do one of those just so that I've got 2 for my bed. And I think that'll be cute and festive for Halloween. And that might be just about as many projects as I can get done before Halloween. And that doesn't mean that it's not all of the Halloween projects that I've got on my list, though. There are a few. And there's some that I didn't even write down yet because I know I've got kits that are like, you know, got to start from the beginning. So, but I've got all the fabric and the pattern. So that was a pretty productive week. I'm pleased with my progress, and so I think I'll just end it there. So next week I will follow up with you and show you exactly what I've done. I just want to take a minute to say thank you so much to everyone who's watched, liked, subscribed to the channel. I promise that I will post on Thursday a little short video about just the experience of starting a YouTube channel and the incredible comments that everyone has given me. I don't think I quite realized what an amazing community YouTube is and how many quilters there are that enjoy this type of content just like I do. I love just watching people create. So I think my goal is sort of evolving to every Monday dropping a video That will be progress on UFOs, give you some tips and tricks of what I've learned, and what has worked and what hasn't worked. And then I'll drop a second video probably around Thursday later in the week. That'll be either a newsy item or just something chatty and different, or maybe it'll just be a little video compilation of me working on things, because I know I love watching people work on projects, and several of you in the comments agreed with me. So thank you again so much. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and consider subscribing. It really helps me out and helps boost my channel and helps get me out to other quilters like us who might enjoy this content. Yeah, so I'll see you next week. Bye.